I'll call to order this meeting of the Franklin Municipal Planning Commission for September the 26th, 2024. We'll start off tonight with the roll call. Commissioner Allen.
Present.
Commissioner Franks.
Present.
Commissioner Harrison.
Present.
Commissioner Lindsay is present. Commissioner Mann is absent. Commissioner McLemore.
Present.
Commissioner Orr.
Present.
Alderman Peterson.
Here.
And Commissioner Williamson.
Present.
All right, we have a quorum. So the next item on our agenda is for citizen comments. This is open for citizens to speak on any issue or concern. If you'd like to speak on a specific item that is on the agenda, then we ask you to wait until the citizen comment period for that agenda item. And so I'll call, as we get to an agenda item, there's a specific time where we call for citizen comments. If you expect that you will speak, you can pick up one of the speaker cards right on the table behind the column and give it to one of our staff members, and they'll give it to me. So you fill out that speaker card. When it's time, you come up to the microphone at the lectern and give us your name and address, and then we ask you to limit your comments to 2 minutes. So are there any citizens who wish to speak at this time, not on a specific item? Don't race to the lectern. So I see none, so we'll move on. The next item is for approval of minutes. This is consideration of approval of the August 22nd, 2024 Franklin Municipal Planning Commission minutes. Is there a motion for approval?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Peterson and a second by Commissioner McLemore. Any corrections or additions to the minutes? Seeing none, by roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks, Commissioner Harrison.
Abstain.
Okay. And I, Commissioner Lindsay, was absent during that meeting, so I will recuse myself as well. Commissioner Mann is absent. Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
So that motion passes for approval of the minutes. Announcements. Staff, do we have any announcements to make tonight?
I just have one announcement. Some of you that had expressed interest in attending the Vision City Conference, we had put you on a list, but we have now gotten a link where you can register yourself at no charge currently. We'll work out that payment with Franklin tomorrow ourselves. So if you could go ahead, if you received an email from me, go ahead and register yourself per that link. I sent it this week. Just go ahead and do that. If you have any issues, let me know. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Emily. Okay, the next item on our agenda is for the annual calendar. This is consideration of approval of the 2025 FMPC deadlines and schedules calendar. Is there a motion for approval of the calendar?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion for approval by Commissioner Allen and a second by Commissioner Orr. Any discussion? By roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks, Commissioner Harrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye, Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
The motion passes. The next item is for the approval of the items for our consent agenda tonight. And our consent agenda is a separate agenda made up of projects that are non-controversial or don't require voting or discussion. So we have tonight consideration of approval of items 4 through 12 and items 17 and 19 on the consent agenda. So is there a motion for approval of consent agenda?
Move for approval.
Second.
That was a second by Commissioner Harrison?
Correct.
And that's 17 through 19, correct?
17 through 19, right. And being consent, there is no discussion. By roll call, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsey votes aye. Commissioner McLemore.
Aye.
Commissioner Orr.
Aye.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
The motion passes for the consent agenda. So our first item for consideration tonight, this is item number 13, consideration of resolution 2024-81, a resolution amending the Haven at Cool Springs PUD subdivision to extend the vested rights for the property located north of Cool Springs Boulevard and east of Mac Hatcher Parkway, located at 151 Cool Springs Boulevard. I'll turn it over for staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The request is to extend the vesting period for the Haven at Cool Springs PUD subdivision for an additional 2 years until December 14th of 2026 to allow the applicant to secure any necessary permits and commence site preparation. The development plan for Haven at Cool Springs was approved by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen on December 14th of 2021. The plan includes a density of 39.44 and 8,595 square feet of non-residential space for a site that is comprised of 7.53 acres. Staff recommended approval with conditions of the overall plan, and BOMA approved the plan by a vote of 8-0. The plan is within the first 3-year period and is vested until December 14th of this year. The applicant has an approved site plan for the property, but has not yet pulled any permits for the property. In reviewing the plan against the current city regulations, the current plan generally complies with today's zoning ordinance. The differences in today's zoning ordinance versus their vested ordinance are minor and could be incorporated into the design without major changes to the plan. Additionally, this specific property has a shared responsibility with those at 201 and 101 Cool Springs Boulevard for constructing the fourth leg of the Windcross Court and Cool Springs Boulevard intersection, as well as providing cross connection between these two parcels. These improvements and cross connections would need to be shown in any new plan for this property. As it stands today, the sewer capacity is accounted for in the studies that have been completed. I do want to note that the development plan does not comply with today's Envision Franklin that was adopted in May of this year. Today's Envision Franklin still places the property in regional commerce, but limits the height on this stretch of Cool Springs Boulevard to only 4 stories per the Appendix E Interstate Corridor building heights. The current plan is approved for 6 stories. While the building height of 6 stories complies with today's zoning ordinance, staff is preparing zoning ordinance and map amendment to rezone properties in this area that are currently zoned RC6 to a newly proposed RC4 zoning district as directed by both the Planning Commission and Board of Mayor and Aldermen at a recent joint conceptual workshop. So while this change does not directly affect this property as it is zone PD and part of a planned unit development, it does affect nearby properties. So staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommends to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to approve Resolution 2024-81 if it is determined that it is in the best interest of the community. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, does anyone from the public wish to speak to this item? Seeing none, is there someone here representing the applicant?
Hello, I'm Katie Garrett. I'm with Kaiser Vogren Design. Happy to answer any questions you have, and also the owner of the property is here tonight as well.
Okay. Is there a motion on this item?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion for approval by Commissioner McLemore and a second. Is that you, Jimmy? Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. Okay, we have a proper motion for approval by Commissioner McLemore and seconded by Commissioner Harrison. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, by roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsey votes aye. Commissioner McLemore?
Aye.
Commissioner Orr?
Aye.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
And Commissioner Williamson?
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously. Okay. Item number 14 is the consideration of Resolution 2024-77. This is a resolution to adopt an Envision Franklin Plan amendment for a parcel located at 1247 Hillview Lane, known as MAP 091, parcel 09900, to change the design concepts map from Development Reserve to Village Green, and to add a special consideration to the Village Green design concept. I'll turn it over to staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as stated, this application is to amend the Envision Franklin Design Concepts map for a parcel located at 1247 Hillview Lane, which is located roughly west of Columbia Pike, south of the future McHatcher Southwestern Extension, and at the terminus of Hillview Lane. The property currently has the Development Reserve design concept with portions of the site marked for conservation due to the hillsides, and the applicant is requesting that the parcel receive the newly created Village Green design concept while keeping the established conservation design concept on the property. The applicant intends to develop the site with a master planned approach consisting of single-family homes, townhomes, cottage court homes, small-scale multifamily, and a central commercial Main Street node. They are also requesting that a hospitality area / inn, including supported uses and an indoor-outdoor event venue, would be added to their special consideration. So now this application is really split into two different aspects. The first is the request to change the property to the Village Green design concept, and the other is to establish the new special consideration for the Village Green design concept to allow for small-scale multifamily uses in the Main Street area to be up to 3 stories, as well as to allow for hospitality uses and the hospitality supporting uses in order to accommodate events and potential meetings. The proposed special consideration would allow for up to 80 hotel keys between the boutique inn and standalone cottages of 4 rooms apiece. Now, Envision Franklin requires that plan amendments must demonstrate a need and justification for the following 5 criteria. 1, significant changes have occurred since the adoption of the plan and necessitate the proposed amendment. 2, proposal is consistent with the overall intent of the plan, its guiding principles, the desired land use patterns, and the development suitability analysis and infill maps as applicable. Number 3, that the design is compatible with the design concept of the surrounding area and does not cause an abrupt change in massing, form, or architecture. Number 4, that the proposal does not adversely affect the health and safety of residents or damage the natural environment or scenic quality in contradiction to the plan. And number 5, that substantial improvements to the quality of life for city residents will be achieved. Now, staff does believe that overall this amendment meets these criteria, and the full responses to these criteria were provided to you in the item report, and the applicant's responses to these as well were included in your civic clerk attachments. Now, while staff believes that overall the criteria are met, there is concern about the potential traffic pattern caused by a hospitality use and the impacts that these traffic patterns may cause to nearby residents. But at this stage, a traffic impact analysis is not required as part of the Envision Franklin amendment process, but it will be required should this move forward into the development plan process. Now, nearby neighbors have been active throughout this process, and the comments that we have received have focused heavily on a concern for the additional traffic to this area, as well as the impact that it may have on the tree-lined and canopied portion of Hillview Lane. The applicant has been working to establish a primary entrance on the southern side from Coleman Road with a secondary access to the northwest side leading to the Lula Lane Incinerator Road area. So staff is recommending approval of Resolution 2024-77 with a condition that the special consideration that they have included be amended to include the following statement: that hospitality uses are appropriate as a secondary use if the traffic impact analysis provided with the proposed development plan shows minimal traffic impacts to the surrounding road network. I know that was a lot, so I'm happy to answer any questions. The applicant does want to say a few words as well, and I'm sure we have a handful of public comment as well.
Thank you.
Could we pull up page 19 in this to show the prospective connections to it? Okay.
Is this what you're referring to?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I can't see the little yellow things there, but. I think it says page 19. Oh, yeah. Maybe it's that. Yeah. Sorry. So, is that it? It's got the one down on the
Is that,
bottom. Let's see that.
is that better?
Mr. Chair, while we pull up this on the screen, I think we can go ahead and go to public comment.
Sure,
Okay.
Good idea.
We'll do that then. So it is time for public comment on this item. Does anyone wish to speak to this item? I've got a series of
This big thing.
cards. We'll start with Barry Beasley. If you'll kind of, yes, sir? You want to speak? Have you filled out a card? Okay. All right. We'll do it in this order. We'll start, and I'll call about 5 names, and if you'll kind of line up behind the lectern, then we'll call for another. Thank you. Okay, Barry Beasley, Anna Markham, Sam Harper, Emily Magid, and Lisa Stoltz. We'll start with y'all.
Well, hello, I'm Barry Beasley. I serve as the president and CEO of the Heritage Foundation of Williamson County. It's good to see all of you tonight. Our 57-year-old organization is here to serve the community and be steadfast in our efforts to preserve the places and stories that matter. With the influx of development in Williamson County, this year we launched Preserve Williamson to instill a grassroots preservation ethos throughout the county to advocate for smart and sustainable growth. One of the character-defining features of Williamson County is our picturesque rural country roads. Over 25 years ago, we launched our Heritage Roads program, and that's a comprehensive initiative designed to identify, protect, and preserve the scenic roadways that define our county's unique character. Hillview Lane, with its beautiful tree tunnel and winding curves, transports you to the past. In considering this development, the preservation of Hillview Lane and unique sense of place is paramount. We encourage Boyle and the residents of Hillview Lane to work together to find a preservation solution that benefits all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna?
Hello, everyone. You're getting both of the Heritage Foundation folks back to back, so enjoy. Hello, my name is Anna Markham. I am the Senior Director of Preservation at the Heritage Foundation of Williamson County, Tennessee. It is no secret that Franklin has experienced unprecedented growth in the last decade, and with that comes a surge of development activity. As our president and CEO, Barry Beasley, said, we believe in thoughtful, sustainable growth and believe that changing the design concept to Village Green for the Harlan Farm parcel is the most preservation-minded option if development is going to occur. Williamson County's scenic rural roads are a huge part of our unique sense of place. And that is why we are advocating for Hillview Lane with its unbelievable tree tunnel and winding curves to be central to considerations in evaluating this project. We encourage the developer and the residents of Hillview Lane to continue working together to find a preservation-minded solution that benefits all parties involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam Harper?
Sam Harper, Lula Lane. I'm just up here to speak, try to stay off that as much as we can. That's all I
Lula,
got.
okay, great. Thank you, Sam. Emily?
I'm Emily McGidd. I live at 1208 Hillview Lane here in Franklin, Tennessee. Members of the Planning Commission, whatever the designation you assign to this development, please leave Hillview Lane out of the equation, except for emergency use. It is a designated heritage road surrounded by history and nature at its best. A charming tree-lined lane, it is unique in character, and if used by the developers, would morph into just another street. The peace and tranquility of the surrounding homeowners would be greatly encumbered by this expansion. It is not a necessary route, as the developers have obtained 2 other means of entrance and egress. As I stand before you tonight, I wish to impress upon each and every one of you the importance of keeping Hillview Lane as it has stood for more than 100 years. Please don't pave paradise to put up a parking lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Lisa?
Hi, I'm Lisa Stutz. I'm at 1801 Shadow Green Drive. Hard to follow that act. But mainly I'm concerned about the traffic issues that are going to be coming through our neighborhood. A lot more streamlined through our houses, through Hillview Lane, through Shadow Green. A lot more traffic, a lot more people. I don't feel our roads can handle that. The safety of our children in our neighborhood, it's going to take away our charm. It is safety. I'm concerned about the hotel with the transient people in and out of our neighborhoods coming and going. I just kind of wanted to voice my concern, and that's about all I have.
Right. Thank you, Lisa.
My name is Olaf.
Sir? Did you fill out a card?
Yes, I did, yeah. Olaf Isele.
Okay, I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, hello, I'm Olaf Isele, and I live in 1801 Shadow Green. And there's many others here from our neighborhood here. And I applaud Envision Franklin. You know, it's a great strategic view, and I appreciate the values that are described in there and how they are intended to be upheld with the future developments. Having said that, you know, when we look at Harlan, it's essentially the building of a whole new village, town. So that involves a lot of construction also. And so, along with the lady who just spoke before me, is I'm really worried about the traffic that all this will cause. Not just hospitality events, like the gentleman was reading here from the notes, but overall, in the building of that new neighborhood, with families that are moving in there, with businesses that are moving in there, they will, of course, want to have traffic coming there. And already now, we're having very severe traffic issues on US 31. On the road going from, you know, Shadow Green, that area, going north into Franklin and then coming out of Franklin again. So there's a lot of construction traffic going there as well. You can imagine that the building of a new village, essentially, means a lot of construction vehicles going in and out there, even before people move in there. And I'm very worried about that one, and I think that needs to be addressed before this resolution gets approved. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, next, if you'll line up, Gene Lovell, Kelly Hare, Rob Dawson, Abby Cowtant, and Hazel Barge. Yes, sir, go ahead.
My name is Gene Lovell. I live at 1175 Hillview Lane. And I, along with my neighbors, would like to express our gratitude for the work you're doing in our community and the consideration of what's going on here tonight. And more specifically tonight, I'd like to address some recent memorandum to the Planning Commission regarding the new boil development at the Harlan Farm. All of us were relieved to read that the plan would, and I quote, circumvent Hillview Lane so as not to disturb the quaint, tree-lined country road that surrounding neighbors have grown to love and that contributes to their quality of life. That one sentence in your recent report expresses our deepest concern. As this development process continues, we want to continue to express our desire for the lane to be protected from the traffic that would be imposed on the neighborhood with the addition of 300-plus new homes and condos. We stand united in our desire to protect our sweet little lane and the tranquility of this remarkable part of Franklin we call home. All of us feel very blessed to be part of the history and the incredible legacy of Hillview Lane. Thank you for your time tonight and your leadership in this manner.
Great, thank you. Kelly?
I'm Rob Dodson.
Okay.
I guess we got out of order.
Okay.
I live on Hillview Lane at 1178, and I have the same concerns my neighbors have. We all want things to stay the way they are on Hillview Lane. It's been that way for a long time, and it would be a shame to see it changed just for the sake of building some more houses down at the Harlan's farm. But additionally, in terms of the criteria that this commission is to use in looking at this proposal, one of the first criteria is that significant changes have occurred since Envision Franklin was adopted. And in the report from staff, the changes that are noted is that the urban growth boundary was reduced and that the city has expressed or allowed the annexation process to begin. And I don't think either one of those are appropriate considerations for quote unquote significant changes in adopting an amendment to the plan. The city expressing interest in an annexation should not be the basis for moving forward with changing the zoning or changing the land use set forth in Envision Franklin, because all that says is that the city's willing to let them go forward with the process. So that's not a significant change, and it shouldn't be the basis for amending the Envision Franklin plan. The other basis was that the urban growth boundary had been reduced because of South Hall Lane area no longer being included in the urban growth boundary. And I don't see how that is a significant change in the area that should be a consideration either. I don't understand how that reduction in the urban growth boundary makes that a significant change for this property or the surrounding area. So I don't think they've met that criteria at all. The other criteria that doesn't seem to be, maybe I don't understand the criteria, but significant change in massing, an abrupt significant change in massing. There's one family living out there now, and they're proposing putting 300 plus houses. That seems to be an abrupt change in massing in the area to me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Kelly Hare?
Kelly, hi. Kelly Hare, I live in the Shadow Green community. Thank you for allowing us to speak to all of you today. What I heard today was actually disturbing. I saw that beautiful picture that the developer showed us today. But what it doesn't show you is what you have to go through to get to that picture. And that is the traffic, the destruction of the beautiful lane that we all walk on, that tree-type lane. If you haven't been there, I please suggest to go and look at it. In Shadow Green, we have people walking dogs. If you haven't been through there, drive through that. We have children playing everywhere. This is actually going to be, I think, dangerous to the community. And I think we all have to stop and ask ourselves, when has growth and building become about money and not a benefit to your community, to the residents, to the city of Franklin, to preserving what makes this town so amazing? To have a venue there, to put in a hotel, this isn't the place for it. It's not built for that. And what it's going to do to Columbia Avenue, which is already jammed, right? And what it's going to do to the community, it's not going to be beneficial. It's actually going to be a detriment. And I would really love for everyone to consider that before you allow somebody to come in and like he said, put over 300 homes where there's one home sitting. To put in a hotel, to put in an entertainment venue where strangers are going to be coming back and forth in neighborhoods that are family neighborhoods with so many children. My grandson lives with me. He's autistic. We play out in that neighborhood. I can't imagine what that noise and everything's going to do to him. So I would really love for you to consider to say no to this and to think of another place for this to even go. I think it's destroying your beautiful town of Franklin. And I think you need to really consider that before you turn into a community that you're not going to recognize anymore. I appreciate you listening today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Abby?
Hi, my name is Abby Couton. I live on 1801 Shadow Green Lane. I just want to thank all of you for your hard work for creating and preserving a community that we all love. I just wanted to express similar concerns to everyone before me, that I am concerned about the traffic patterns. I do live in the Shadow Green, and I see that yellow dotted line is a future proposed road, so that means traffic in and out of our little enclave that we don't have now. Our roads are pretty small, they're residential, there's street side parking, there's dogs, there's cats, there's squirrels, and there's kids on the street all the time. So I'm concerned about that and the transient nature of our roads, and also just echoing what everyone else has said just about the expansion of Franklin. I think we all love the small town feel and the charm here. And I would encourage you to really listen to your constituents and think about preserving the life and the quality of life for those who have committed to this community already. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Abby. Okay, next, if I can get Hazel Barge, Elaine Harrison, Michael Bubser, Jody Thompson, and Brian Garnier. Is that Brian? I'm sorry. Okay. If y'all line up and I'm sorry?
She's speaking on a different
Okay.
item number.
Okay, anybody else wants to speak then to the Harlan project? Go ahead. What's your name?
Good evening. Blair Garner. I live at 1159 Hillview Lane with my family. I guess, emphasize what all my neighbors have already said here today. We don't necessarily oppose the concept of development on the Harlan farm. It's their property. Can't tell them not to do it. What we ask is that we not allow their profit motive to destroy all of our homes, our quality of life. One of the things that was mentioned earlier, one of the criteria was safety, not impacting the safety of existing residents. Right now, if any of you have been up on that road, it's a lovely small country lane. In no way, shape, or form is it designed to support 300 plus residences plus all this other development you're talking about. My kids ride their bike on that road, we walk our dogs. Everybody throughout the neighborhood, and not just our neighborhood, people come because of what Hillview Lane is to see it. There's no way you can put this much development down that road without destroying it. I've seen everything that Boyle Firm has put out as far as design ideas. Every one of them that road is not physically wide enough. You will have to bulldoze through the tree tunnel. You'll have to bulldoze through all of our property to get that 48-foot road they're talking about, all those things. So I thank you for consideration, but I would very much ask that we keep this development off our road. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Michael Bubser, 1184 Lula Lane. So, dear members of the commission and dear audience, we've heard a lot of support from the neighbors on the Hillview side. I just want to bring my view to the attention. My wife and I have moved here 9 years ago to Lula Lane, and it was completely rural. Over the years, properties have been developed. Just 5 houses went up, but that already on Lula Lane created horrible traffic because two trucks cannot pass each other. And when you look at the map here, I find it very interesting that there's a dotted line drawn right through the property that we own. That would be one of the proposed access streets. I read the proposal and it said it requires, at least during the construction phase, to have 3 different access points to the Harlan property. One being the Hillview Lane, the other one from Coleman Road, and the next one through Lula Lane. And I mean, Lula Lane is not capable of handling any of that additional traffic. And I've also got to say, on our property, we have, in addition, an equestrian business, and I have some tenants, and we don't want to lose that property to development. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jody?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
My name's Jody Thompson. We moved to Hillview Lane 34 years ago. And me and my wife were the youngest married couple on the road. We're now the oldest married couple. Everybody left our road either in an ambulance or in a hearse. Because once you come to Hillview Lane, you don't want to leave. And I've been the protector of Hillview Lane for a good 34 years. Developers been coming, and we fought 28 years ago, and the city decided to designate us as a heritage, designated heritage road. And I'm kind of curious if that's going to matter in this time. And when people speak of Hillview Lane, we're not talking to just the tree-covered lane. We're talking about the whole road. We're not opposed to the Harlan the subdivision. The Harlans have been great neighbors all of our life, and they have the right to sell their land, and and so the only problem we have is using Hillview Lane. We really never thought that that would actually ever even be considered by the city of Franklin, considering we're attached to the battlefield of Franklin. My property is part of Winstead Hill. I live on Winstead Hill, and part of Mr. Winstead had 2 hills, and I'm the guardian of Mr. Winstead's cemetery, and it's got about 40 African-American people buried with him. And so we just can't seem to understand, we got a hillside zoning ordinance years ago to protect the hillside, and we're all hillside. There's only 10 properties, homesteads on our road, and one of them's the Harlans. 4 in the city, that's me. Y'all have rezoned me 3 or 4 times. I've been so many different, right now I'm a state's residential. I'm okay with that. So we got 4 properties in the city, we've got 5 properties in the county, and those people are going to get caught in between the annexation of the city of Franklin. And we just want to see that, Hillview Lane, you just can't do it. And I mean, and it's like, we'll allow you to, we will accept fire trucks, ambulances, put a gate up at the end, and we'll be glad to do that. But, y'all got to be kind to us. Do not do this to us. We worked really hard to preserve this town, and we're really expecting this town to be good to us. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, is there someone here representing the applicant?
Hi, good evening. My name is Adam Balish. I'm with Boyle Investment Company, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of the Planning Commission this evening. We believe we've got a wonderful opportunity to talk about the preservation of 215 acres on the Harlan property, and to remind the commission tonight that the vote that is being put forth is on land use policy. Tonight I have John Harlan and Greg Gamble with me, and Greg's going to talk in a little more detail about the proposal and help answer any questions. But 20 years ago, the Harlan family worked with the city of Franklin to help preserve Harlansdale and save 198 acres on the north side of town. Just this summer, Clay Harlan and his son Talbot published a book about the history of Harlansdale, and I want to read a specific quote from that. It says, this is a quote from Bill Harlan, who was one of the property owners there. It said, "What did my father give to me? Not an inheritance, but a heritage. A sense of sportsmanship that goes far beyond the playing field. He taught me to play fair in everything and to hate bullies. He taught me good taste and good manners, which have not price but great worth. He opened my mind when I was very young to a love of learning." It is with this pride and heritage for our community that Boyle enters into the conversations with the city of Franklin and the neighbors of the Harlan farm of another Harlan property tonight. This time, Boyle and the Harlan family are asking the city of Franklin's help in preserving over 215 acres with the vote tonight to put this property into the Village Green land use plan. Since we last spoke in front of this body, we have been able to secure additional contracts for properties that abut Coleman Road, as well as Incinerator Lane. Greg will explain those in more detail and how we intend Coleman Road to be the primary access for this project. We understand the infrastructure challenges for any development, and this project is no different. We look forward to rolling up our sleeves and working with our neighbors, the Heritage Foundation, and the City of Franklin to help craft a plan that works for this community. This property is currently zoned for 1 unit per 1 acre in the county and will develop in the future whether it's in the city or not. The vote tonight will help ensure that the correct protective measures are in place and that the City of Franklin will lead these discussions, thereby helping protect the open space, the hillsides, and yes, even the surrounding roads that you've heard so much about tonight. So we look forward to answering any questions, and Greg's going to talk a little bit further. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Adam. Again, my name is Greg Gamble. And Andrew, do I have control over the slides? Excellent, thank you. I'm going to leave it on this one. The Envision Franklin introduction to Village Green captures the exact reason why Boyle and the Harlans are asking for your consideration to change the land use plan policy. Our community should strive to ensure policies are in place to protect the view sheds, open spaces, vistas that make up the rural edge of Franklin. The Village Green design concept is intended to provide the ability to establish a wider variety of housing options while prioritizing the preservation of open space. Desirable natural features should be identified first and set aside as a part of the required 70% open space. Even when we started the design of just the concept plan that we presented to you tonight, our team sat down and we started with what should be preserved. That was the first question. And that embodies the spirit of what Envision Franklin is calling for here. Diverse options for residential and commercial uses are encouraged within Village Green developments to create a truly unique experience of living in a small village community surrounded by nature while still being located within the city of Franklin city limits. Preserved open space is a valued amenity that should be the focal point of design concept by clustering residential and commercial uses around preserved environmental features and identified open space. This is the exact spirit of the concept plan that we provided and the vision for the master plan for a very special place within the city of Franklin. These are the words straight from the Village Green concept. At the joint conceptual workshop, there were many questions regarding access to this property. We've been working very closely with staff, and traffic engineers, and neighbors since the workshop. This is page 6 of the submitted presentation, and we graphically show potential roadwork connections. There's a great concern from the residents on Hillview Lane, as you've heard tonight, who would like to see it preserved with its unique charm and character, and we fully understand that, and we desire the same. Boyle currently has, I'm going to turn my laser pointer on so you can see, currently has this property right here under contract. This property right here would allow for a new street connection from Coleman Road north to the Harlan property. You'll notice along this boundary here, This purple line, that is the new urban growth boundary. That's what the state is considering adopting. That's what Williamson County voted unanimously on to send to the state of Tennessee for adoption. But that is the new urban growth boundary line. The green is the old urban growth boundary line. So with the new urban growth boundary line, you can see here that this portion of Coleman Road is now included as a part of the city's urban growth boundary. That green designation that you're seeing on Coleman Road designates it as a collector road. We know that it has to be developed to collector road standards in order to accommodate future growth. We know that there are going to be off-site road improvements. We know that there are going to be potential improvements on Columbia Pike. We know that there are going to be potential improvements on Coleman Road. Those come with the development plan. Once we have the traffic impact analysis that we can show to the Planning Commission, to staff, to sit down and have our third-party reviewer analyze that to understand what the relationship of the development to these roads would be. Boyle has also understands that there is right-of-way available here to connect to Incinerator Road, and are currently in conversations with the owner of that property for a new street going north to connect to Incinerator. We know that there will be road improvements required on Incinerator. We have identified by dashed line Lula Lane here, that's the existing road, dashed line across. And we have identified solid line here, Hillview Lane, that connects back out to MacHatcher Parkway. We are in constant conversations with neighbors, city staff, engineering, Williamson County planners, talking about the roadways and connectivity. We know of the one going north to Incinerator. We know of the one, and we believe that it's a real potential to have connection to Coleman Road. Coleman Road will be our main entrance and our only construction access. That's the only construction access. Will be off Coleman Road through that new street. We do not have a specific plan for Hillview Lane today. At first glance, it's easy to assume that this road would be our main entrance to the future development. But again, we are committed that Coleman Road will be our main entrance in. We are going to continue to work with neighbors, the city of Franklin, and others in the future plans for Hillview Lane. This policy amendment request is about grasping an opportunity to set the stage for preservation, to preserve open space in a meaningful way, to protect it for generations to come. This is the right policy for this property regardless of the development is proposed next year or 10 years from now. We agree with all of staff comments, and we ask for your support and are happy to address any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further?
Also, I want to mention there are special considerations with the Harlan proposal. I didn't talk about those. If you want me to go into details on those, I'm happy to. Yeah, but we agree with staff comments on those as well.
On the special considerations? Why don't you, Greg, why don't you go ahead and touch on the special consideration?
Yeah. I'm older now and everything is so hard to read. So the special consideration for the Village Green policy reads like this, and I'm just going to read the whole thing so that our neighbors can hear it as well. A neighborhood village may consist of designated areas for commercial uses established in a main street form at significant intersecting streets within the neighborhood. Commercial areas are intended to be comprised of neighborhood scale uses as well as boutique uses that are complementary to the neighborhood. Neighborhood scale commercial is encouraged to utilize residential above the commercial to activate and support the retail environment. small-scale multifamily buildings, and our zoning ordinance is or Envision Franklin's very specific about that. That is a building that has no more than 12 homes within it. Small-scale multifamily building and townhomes within the neighborhood village may be up to 3 stories in height. A proposed building will have the proposed heights indicated on the development plan prior to approval. So as the development plan comes forward, we're going to label a 2-story building, 3-story building, so it's specific to what street they're on and where they're located within the development plan. Civic uses may also be appropriate within the neighborhood village. Hospitality uses are appropriate as a secondary use within the village green if sized appropriately, and the building massing is in keeping with the location and design as indicated on the development plan. A boutique hotel may include traditional hotel suites and rooms within an inn, or could include standalone cottages. Cottages could be a single unit or could include up to 4 suites per building, for a total of 80 keys. A boutique hotel is assumed to be a mixed-use building that may also include accessory uses such as a cafe, restaurant, retail, meeting space, health and wellness, indoor and outdoor wedding venue, and other accessory uses. These accessory uses could be within an inn, building itself, or a standalone outbuilding. Development should strive for dark sky compliance and should utilize low light levels rather than typical commercial lighting standards.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, council, is this should we split the actions on this to to an amendment or to deal with a special consideration?
The request is all part of one request. So it is to amend the design concept to Village Green and to add the special consideration. If there's a reason you want to break those apart, you may. But it is part of one full request, and staff is recommending approval with conditions, as Eric stated, to amend that special consideration with an additional sentence.
Right, okay. Okay, is there a motion on this item then?
Move for approval with conditions.
A lot of this is very hypothetical. What if I didn't use my 2 minutes?
Okay, so we have a motion for approval
I'm really
Yes.
worried about what Mr. Gamble just
with conditions, is that?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion for approval with staff conditions by Commissioner Orr. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Franks. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, we got some discussion.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, go ahead.
You good?
No, I've got some, let somebody else go ahead.
Okay.
I'm looking at some stuff.
Any other discussion or questions or?
Sure, I'll start.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think kind of my big question on this is really knowing how those traffic studies are going to turn out. Having that connection to the south to Coleman Road, knowing that I'd be curious to see how all that can kind of balance. I know we got some real concerns with Hillview. I'm a proponent of access from multiple sides. I could definitely see that as emergency only. Again, knowing how that traffic study is going to pan out. Depending on those loads, is access to Coleman Road, is that sufficient? Kind of, I don't know, just the connection into that and knowing, okay, if some of these went to emergency only and then you have that other connection to the south, what is that going to do to Lulu Lane, especially thinking back all the way out to Carter's Creek Pike. I know that one's a road that keeps seeing more and more increased traffic. So yeah, I'm a little concerned about kind of the impact that this could have on kind of the traffic and surrounding roads. I have to say, I applaud the light pollution considerations on this. I do like the idea too of considerable amount being put more into the, being more conserved in the concept that's being proposed for this. I think those are kind of my biggest things that kind of come out, and also knowing that Hillview is, more of a, it's a more historic road and has some very, very special attributes, so.
Well, Hillview Lane, what's somebody else talking?
Go ahead.
No, it's a heritage road, and I will not support a project that will have anything to do with destroying anything on Hillview Lane. But also, as the gentleman mentioned, Lula Lane, and then we have Coleman Road. So, and as Jenny mentioned, the traffic patterns and the transportation network, how is all that going to play out? We don't have numbers, and this is not the time for that, but those are my concerns as to the three interests as far as Hillview Lane, Lula Lane, Coleman Road. Hillview Lane, definitely, I would not be supporting anything where it would be disturbed.
Chair, if I might, I kind of wanted to get together, but I'll just go ahead and put it out. I won't get too much detail. The first thing was we went all the way from development, and I was trying to get it together here, but all the way from development reserve down to Village Green. No stop at rural reserve or anything like that. So, and part of what rural reserve says is you get a buffer kind of between, well, Village Green says you buffer from high density to high density city to kind of a rural. And here, no, we don't have any of that. We're kind of rural. So I would have loved to have seen, maybe some thought of rural reserve. The other thing is, and we're talking about preserving, I remember 30 years ago talking to Mr. Thompson about Hillview Lane when I first kind of looked at the political arena. And so we talked about that, and everyone has really talked about preserving Hillwood Lane, which I'm with. But then when we look on the little lane side, okay, we look at that, roads about this wide, traffic out way, I live out that side of town. I'm on the Carter's Creek roads, and you would not believe the amount of traffic. You would not believe it. But hey, let's look at Columbia Avenue, the forgotten traffic, horrible traffic, even on Sunday mornings. And then we're talking about going to 300 and something houses in this rural. There is no high density city houses here now. This is rural, okay? And so if we were to stick with development reserve, or even, hey, if we just left it in the county in 1 acre, we're still talking about 200 something houses. If we were to just go with all the PARs and left it in the county, we're still talking about, we're talking about a lot of houses. But to look at the thing here where it says that, until we get the traffic study, that our emergency people are saying, we don't even know, they're talking about having to go a country mile to even address it. Maybe 2 country miles, but we don't know because at this point, we can't even order unless we requested a traffic study. So I'm just saying that, even with 1 house per acre, this is just not the place for it. And it may be beautiful, but I can't support, I don't support it being built in the county right now. They can do it because of the where it is. And if you've never been to Lula Lane, go. Okay, if you've never been out there, and even at Coleman Road with the roads like this, so it may be beautiful, and all that, but I definitely would not support it leaving, if we were to bring it in right now and build it from development reserve. So I'll just ask you, thanks.
Other discussion? Commissioner?
First of all, the Hillview Lane cannot support this, not at all. Whenever I did hear that there was already plans for a connection to Coleman Road, I think that makes a difference. And there has to be more than one connection, though. And apparently Incinerator Road is an opposite one, and I don't. I know that fire and people like that say that you have to have more than one way in. And I don't know what the circumstance would be if Hillview was used for anything, really. So I think that they would have to make connections, at least not only through down to Coleman Road, which seems to me to be the best possible way to get in and out of there, but also to have at least Incinerator Road as another one. And I've driven out there. And
Any other comments?
I mean, I'm totally for preserving Hillview Lane. I don't want to see a 3-lane boulevard, a turning lane, or any of that get built through there. I think it ought to have crash barriers for fire protection if it had to get out, if somebody had to get out. But the idea that property on Coleman Road will be fully available for all construction, ingress, egress, the main entrance of that community, the fact that this step that applicants have to go through now in Franklin to amend and envision Franklin, and the tools that staff has supported Envision Franklin with, I recommend this because it's much better than 1 unit per acre in that community and what the county regs are. So they've got a long process, and the process to come back and to further traffic studies for the ingress, egress, for the engineering. And I think Mr. Wiseman can speak on this engineering and what's going to have to happen. It's going to be huge, and if it comes back that you got to have 3 lane down Hillview Lane, then we're not for it. We're not for it.
Right.
But you've got these little pocket areas throughout the city, and nobody wants nothing in their community. We just got through with the Short property, bringing it in the same type of amendment to Franklin. So it makes it, before Franklin added the Envision Franklin requirement, that amendment, we had a lot of other options there to bring properties that will seem to be a lot easier. So staff has done, and our aldermen and all have done a good job of trying to see both sides of the community growth. So that's, I'd like to see the applicant move forward, but it may be dead on arrival when they get to the planning stage and the submittals for the requirements that are going to be required. I mean, I'd like to ask Mr. Wiseman what he thinks about all this, and the fact that the new Mac Hatcher, what the bearing's going to be on this project, and how we can preserve the gorgeous historic Hillview Lane.
We have been in discussion with the development team on what that might look like. I think there's options there. Again, there would need to be multiple points of connectivity based on our zoning ordinance, and a 300 lot subdivision needs more than one point of egress as well. It's premature at this stage to know what improvements would. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll start over. Where was I? So it's a little premature to understand what improvements would be needed. It's hard to say. From a Mac Hatcher standpoint, I'm not sure if and when any of us in this room will ever see that occur. But to serve a 300 lot subdivision, there would certainly need to be more than one point of connectivity just to serve the development. There would a lot of these connections that have been shown are shown towards county roadways that aren't up to city standards. So would improvements be needed if those connections were made? Absolutely. We're just not at a point where we have a traffic study or any reality on where connections would be made today to speak to that more accurately. I hope that helps.
Jimmy, is there, what's the sense of the alignment for the future Mac Hatcher? How does that impact lie with respect to the location of the Harlan property?
It's further to the north, and the preliminary plans, and I say preliminary, and it's in quotations.
Right.
Has shown an effort by the state to preserve Hillview Lane, ultimately making that more of a rural trail type roadway. We're not exactly sure how that'll play out because we don't have any design or anything at this point. It's just a line on the map. But essentially, that's how that looks today. But the alignment for McHatcher is very preliminary. Environmental studies have not even been done, so it's a very, very long way out.
Right.
For anything official.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, just from a land use perspective, Village Green is appropriate for the area that this applicant has in front of us today. We'll have another shot at figuring out connectivity, roadways, and all those other things. That's not what we're here to vote on tonight. It's just land use. I think we all need to keep that in mind.
Another a concern I have, I guess, from the standpoint of it being, even with the Village Green, we're talking about a 300 lot development. Is that where we're? There hasn't been any discussion about an 80 key boutique hotel, which seems like a big ask to go in the middle of what we've defined as a kind of a heritage farm, a beautiful farm in a beautiful area with beautiful roadways. I mean, we dealt with roadways in Williamson County. I live just off Spencer Creek Road, which is up by Battleground Academy. And the original discussion about rebuilding Spencer Creek was to build it to city standards with large shoulders, and it's the same. It's a tree-lined lane that connects McHatcher Parkway with Hillsborough Road, and it was ultimately repaved without destroying all the trees and the overhanging trees and things like that. So I look at that as a way to say we're not going to damage a historic, a heritage roadway, if you will. So again, a little concerned about the 80 key boutique hotel, but from the standpoint of land use, those are my comments, my thoughts. Yes.
One last thought, but land use determines density and whether we would have a boutique hotel or not, because the land use determines whether you would have a hotel or not. So that does make a difference.
Okay. No further comments. We've got a motion for approval with staff conditions by Commissioner Orr, seconded by Commissioner Franks. By roll call vote, Commissioner Allen?
Nay.
Commissioner Franks?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye. Commissioner Mann? I was not here. Commissioner McLemore?
Aye.
Commissioner Orr?
Aye.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
And Commissioner Williamson?
Aye.
The motion passes. Okay, item number 15 is consideration of resolution 2024-80, a resolution to adopt an Envision Franklin Plan amendment for a parcel located at 354 Franklin Road, known as map 063, parcel 02800, to change the design concept from rural reserve to Village Green and to add a special consideration to the Village Green design concept. Staff presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is for the large 200-acre property located at 354 Franklin Road, between Franklin Road, McHatcher, and Cool Springs Boulevard. The applicant is requesting a plan amendment from Rural Reserve to Village Green with a special consideration and a reduction in the conservation area. The applicant is requesting a deferral of this item. Due to the public notice requirements, a notice had already been published in the Williamson Herald at the time of the deferral, so a public hearing must be held tonight. The staff recommends deferral of Resolution 2024-80 to the December 12th FMPC meeting. Thank you.
Okay, so we will hold a public hearing. If anyone from the public wishes to speak to this item, I've got 2 speaker cards. Is there a Elaine Harrison and a Hazel? Is that correct? Okay.
Hello, my name's Elaine Harrison, and I live at 322 Ash Drive. And I am totally against the development that's trying to go on back behind my house, for the simple reason that I've been there for 52 years, and during those 52 years, you all told us that we couldn't build on it, so I expected they couldn't build on it either. It wouldn't be fair to us if we sat there and nursed it, build it up for our lives, and for someone to come in with no attachment to it and give it to them and let them do whatever they want to with it. They say they're not coming to Ash Drive, but that's not true, because it's too much traffic every day, back and forth from the train track all the way up to 312, back and forth, looking. Then you got people knocking on your doors, harassing you. So I say no. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine.
I'm so sorry, that's my mother. I apologize. My name is Herschel, it's not Hazel.
Herschel.
Yes,
okay.
I live at 322 Ash Drive. Growth is good. I love being a resident of Franklin. My parents, my great-grandparents, all of them are from here. The problem that I have with this is that the traffic that it's gonna bring, I don't like that. We have a lot of wildlife that's already on our property and we love it. We, have a farm fence there. We have neighbors that feed the wildlife and things of that nature, and it's a safe haven for them. And where they're talking about doing the building, from my understanding, is gonna be right behind my home. And it's going to rip out a lot of that privacy that we have and a lot of the canopy that we have. It is true what Mom was saying when she stated that we were told, I think, for 52 years. 52 years, right, Mom? 52 years that we were never able to build on the property. We had plenty of land back there to do that. I wish we were able to. I wouldn't be in so much student debt probably right now. But it really is a letdown to us if this was to be approved for someone that has much more money than a lot of the families that do. Also, we have a lot of seniors that live in the neighborhood. These seniors are totally minimized with a lot of the growth. And so in that area, the parcel of Franklin Road where they're talking about building, the actual line goes straight through our property there. And if they're going to be building there, then I take it they're going to be building across from the industrial or on Industrial Park or whatever it is across from us. And potentially going forward, what that would set us up for, that's going to be public usage, and then there's going to be houses behind us. Cool Springs is going to come through there. That could set us up for eminent domain, from my understanding. So we're totally against it. We're asking for you guys to really, really be protective of the people of Ash Drive and take our concerns tonight. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other members of the public wish to speak to this item? Okay, seeing none, does the applicant wish to make a...
Hi, good evening. My name is Greg Campbell, representing the applicant. We had a very, very informative joint conceptual workshop just an hour or two ago. And we are asking deferral tonight with this request to the December meeting. Likely to have some additional input from us prior to that meeting as we move forward from the joint conceptual workshop that we just had. So really appreciate your consideration
Great.
of that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So is there a motion then for deferral on this item?
So move to defer.
Motion by Commissioner McLemore,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Orr. Any further discussion? By roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsey votes aye. Commissioner McLemore.
Aye.
Commissioner Orr.
Aye.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. So that is deferred until the December, what is our December date? December
12th, didn't you say?
December 12th.
December 12th. Okay, great. All right. Item number 16, consideration of Resolution 2024-78, a resolution to adopt an Envision Franklin Plan amendment for a parcel located at 318 Franklin Road, known as map 063, parcel 03300, to add a special consideration to the factory district design concept. Staff presentation.
Thank you very much. This 16-acre parcel is located directly north of Morningside Drive and Harpeth Industrial Court. It's part of the factory district. The middle portion of the site is also encumbered by the conservation design concept, as you can see. Envision Franklin currently supports a mix of residential uses for this site, including single-family, duplex townhomes, and big house, and small-scale multifamily behind the hill. So it is qualified that new development should be located behind the hill. The infill character map helps define that area behind the hill. The applicant is requesting to allow for mixed-use buildings, which would introduce ground floor commercial uses and upper story residential uses. Largely due to the fact that this application doesn't meet the first of the Envision Franklin review criteria, which is there haven't been significant changes since the May adoption of the updated plan. Staff is recommending disapproval of Resolution 2024-78. However, if the commission seeks to approve the resolution, the staff recommends adding the following language that's located in the recommendation box of the staff report, and I can read that now. The conservation area should be preserved. Information about the site's history should be included as part of the amenities provided in that conservation area. The developable area of the site should largely correspond to the infill character map, which is located in Appendix D of Envision Franklin, and also as shown on page 6 of the applicant's submittal. And again, that language is in the recommendation box. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone from the public wish to speak to this item? Seeing none, is there someone here representing the applicant?
I get to be on repeat tonight. My name is Greg Gamble, representing the applicant, Franklin 420 LLC, and I'm here tonight with Evans Wellburn. And I've got a handout that Drake Reader is going to hand out to you. This is page 11 in the presentation, but also easy to see and kind of you can follow along pretty clearly with what we're presenting tonight. Sometimes we like old school paper. Am I still in control?
Yeah.
First, I want to give you just a little bit of context. If you look at the screen here, this is the property directly across the street from Harlansdale. The green circle right there in the middle, that is Hilltop Preservation. In addition to hilltop preservation, there is a HHO buffer, and you can see if you look kind of at the outer band there, that's all the way out here. That's the HHO buffer. It does cross over the railroad tracks right there. It crosses over Franklin Road right here. But within that area of HHO buffer, there are very few, if any, naturally occurring slopes of 14% or greater. So really we're focused here on this preservation area that's right there at the top of the hill. I want to leave it on this map just for a second. So this request is not to change the policy of the property from the factory district to something else. This is a request to add a new special consideration for the property within the factory district. Staff stated that they recommend disapproval of this request primarily because significant changes have not occurred since the adoption of the factory district just this year in May. However, you may recall that this property was added to the factory district near the end of the draft process. It was not originally a part of the district. And the special considerations restricting residential uses only to this property were not added until near the end of the draft of the Envision Franklin plan. It was not clear to the owner of the property until after the adoption of the plan that the commercial uses were not supported. We believe that a residential edge along the railroad track makes for somewhat of an awkward transition. We're proposing a building in keeping with Jameson Station where boutique office space, maker space can accommodate entrepreneurial business or be a sundry amenity for local residents. And right here is the property. The buildings that we're talking about are these mixed-use buildings here. Jameson Station buildings are right here, and you kind of see that transition from Jameson Station, the factory parking lot, Harpeth Industrial Court, alongside the railroad track. These would also be somewhat of a buffer with that ground floor office space use. All of those office spaces that are on the ground floor of Jameson Station are now occupied. There is no more space available there. The small boutique tenants that were in the factory have now moved out. And the factory's plans have changed, the space plans have changed. We're looking at kind of different uses there, and those opportunities for those boutique offices like you have at Jameson Station, those boutique maker spaces are no longer available. We believe that future development of this property for a mix of uses at a small neighborhood scale brings additional vibrancy to the factory district. It's very complementary to the very intentional goals of the district, goals that strive for placemaking, goals that create unique identity for the factory, goals that promote walkability. Staff agrees that 4 out of 5 of the justifications have been demonstrated. I believe these 4 criteria hold significant weight. The proposal is consistent with the overall intent of the plan and its guiding principles. The proposal is compatible with the design concept of the surrounding area. The proposal does not adversely affect the health safety of residents. And this is a substantial improvement to the quality of life for City of Franklin residents. We are in agreement with staff's recommended language to add the conservation area should be preserved. Information about the site's history should be included as a part of the amenities provided within the conservation area, and the development of the site should largely correspond to the infill character map. The map that you have in front of you right now lists on the right side the original special consideration that we wrote. We were a little concerned that we didn't know what behind the hill meant. Really, wanted a bit more specificity to that. What does behind the hill mean? We have a real quick SketchUp video that I would like to show you that's included in our presentation. How do I click on this? Can you do it from your computer? This is very fast. We have provided in SketchUp model the 2- and 3-story buildings that are proposed on the property. And this will show you the relationship to the hill and Franklin Road. So this is about 6 feet above the ground for a car. And you can see the buildings are behind the hill. Would it be helpful to see that one more time now that you understand what you're looking at? Yes, one more time?
Sure.
Remind me.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Not the car.
There you go. So 2 and 3 story buildings. And then the perspective 6 foot above Franklin Road, driving down the street.
You cannot see it.
So looking at this map here, we articulated where 500 feet is, we articulated where 700 feet is. We've added the line from the character infill, the orange line there. And what city staff is saying is that development should take place largely behind that orange line. So just wanted to make that clear to you. We understand that. I know that's not going to be addressed until we actually submit a development plan when that comes forward. This access point right here on Franklin Road, that is at the high point. That gets clear visibility both north and south. We have an access road that stays out of the HHO along the south. Yes, it is parallel to Morningside Drive. Morningside Drive is a private street, private drive, and all 5 of those homes on Morningside Drive are vacation by owner rentals. So we're parallel to that. We have a connection that connects back to Harpeth Industrial Court. This will allow new growth, spurred development on Harpeth Industrial Court where it's no longer a cul-de-sac. The factory already has a requirement on their plan to have a designated location for future connectivity between Harpeth Industrial Court and the factory. This is a part of the consideration of the overall master plan. We believe that this is consistent with the factory district, and I look forward to answering any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Greg, that roadway that you show coming down south from the jewel box, that connects all the way into, ultimately, may connect all the way into the factory.
Let me go back to the big map because it's a little bit easier to see, and I'll use my
Harpeth Industrial.
I'm all the way at the top, and it's not all the way. Can you get me to the right page, Andrew? No, it's page 4.
I lost my PDF.
Oh, you did. So you had to break it up. I see. Next one, the next one down. Let's see. Keep going. There you go, right there.
Okay.
All right. So can you go up just a hair? Okay, so here's the entrance road. It comes to the south of the hill, comes over to Harpeth Industrial Court, which is right here.
Right.
And then right in here would be that connection back over to the factory in the future when we see redevelopment.
All right, okay.
So,
Can it be built now to the factory?
Can the road connection to the factory be built now?
Yeah.
Um,
Where it's got good connectivity?
I think it would have to come forward as a part of a site plan maybe, or, as a part of a. So one of the things I'll reiterate, we've got the special consideration language right here. Staff is asking you to consider adding their language as a part of that as well.
Chair,
Yes.
okay. When we saw the video, board site challenge. Okay, so on that video, you had placed buildings on there, but as we were driving down the street, we weren't able to see them. Is that what you were showing us?
Yes, ma'am.
Lord knows I could not see. I just wanted to be sure. Thank you.
Yes, we just want to make sure we were articulating what was behind the hill.
At streets level, yeah, I just want to be sure. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Don't we need a motion before we continue?
Alderman Peterson.
No, I was just
We
saying.
don't have a motion.
Thank you for showing,
Yeah.
saying that whenever you're driving along Franklin Road, you would not be able to see these buildings
Yep.
because they're behind the hill.
Right, that's what I said to her. I said, I can't
So
believe.
do we have a motion on this item
Move for approval.
Second.
With staff's
with
conditions.
staff's
Disapproval. I'm sorry. I'm backwards.
Here they-
That's not right.
Okay.
No. I need to retract.
Where are we?
I need to retract that.
You're going to retract that?
Well,
Okay.
I'm moving for approval, so, but their recommendation is to disapprove, so how do we do that?
That's fine, you just need to include the staff.
Alma, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I apologize. Could you speak into the mic
I
of
would
what your
like to
motion is?
Make a motion to approve the project, but staff is recommending disapproval, so.
With staff's conditions.
With staff.
You have a motion,
Oh, you got it. He's got it.
we have a motion to approve by Alma with staff's conditions. Seconded, we're going to give this second to Scott.
Yes.
Seconded by Commissioner Harrison.
And, and we haven't said anything about the potential historic area there. That is that also a part of the staff conditions?
Yeah, part of the condition did read that there needs to be some interpretation of the history of the site in the conservation area. And this site is also in the HPO, just for everybody's knowledge.
Okay.
And also, I want to make it very clear, though, that the reason that I am going to give staff's recommendations was that video, which was very helpful, because part of the reason we even did that was because we wanted to make sure that this corridor, that we honored the view shed. That made it very, very clear. Thank you for that.
And I'll say too, just in general, because going against staff, the factory district is very new. And I think the nature of the factory as it is now is much more vibrant than it's ever been. But also I think the character has changed a little bit. So I think kind of this opportunity for a little bit more mixed use, maybe providing a space that I think we had in the past anticipated to always be there, but maybe it's changing, probably for the better, for the vibrancy. So I think this is appropriate to be in the factory district. With that, I would say too, just in general, that connection to the factory, I can see that as being very important to kind of connect the whole, energy of the district.
I want to say too that it was a deciding factor, not necessarily deciding, I thought it was a very important factor, was that this roadway has the ability to connect back down to the factory. And for me, what that does is that instead of every large parcel or every development having a cul-de-sac that goes back and ends, and the treatment of the roadway around the knob, and then development tucked in behind the knob, and then the connectivity back down through Harpeth Industrial and then on to the factory, I think creates a more unified opportunity for development and redevelopment of everything between there and Liberty. So
That's got to be an exception. I mean, that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's a one road in and out.
So we have a proper motion to approve
excuse me.
with staff conditions.
Does this resolution have to go to BOMA?
It does not.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, I
We
know I
send
did-
a
I did-
receipt of
okay.
your action to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Okay,
That's all.
thank you.
Yeah, okay. By roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
and this is a motion to approve
Yes.
the
Well,
development with staff
do we need
conditions.
to add those exceptions? Remember those are required?
She did.
Do we need
We're adding that
to
paragraph.
She did.
I did say with conditions,
The paragraph.
with access to the factory?
well,
No,
It's in there.
with conditions.
It's in there.
That wasn't a condition.
It was in
It's part
there.
of what the plan shows.
It's in there, yeah.
All right.
I don't, Commissioner Franks,
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye, Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
The motion passes. Thank you, Greg. Is there any other business tonight? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
A motion to adjourn by Commissioner Orr, seconded by Commissioner Allen. By roll call, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Franks,
Aye.
Harrison,
Aye.
Lindsay, aye, McLemore,
Aye.
Orr,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yeah, yes.
and Williamson.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Sure.